Yeah, we hold Billy too there. Okay, Bill, come
Ladies
on
and gentlemen,
around.
please hold it quiet.
Okay, that's the shot.
Thank you for ripping a ticket to another installment of Hellhound Film Club. I'm your host, Cody Pope, and this is my co-host,
Danny Dymez.
And as we truly are every time we do this, we're thrilled to introduce tonight's panel and special feature.
Joining our panel for the evening is our longtime friend of the show. You've seen him on countless episodes of a revival of Hellhound Film Club, as well as multiple appearances on Cody Central. He's a film industry production staff member and an independent filmmaker who recently won the Nashua Public Library Tiny Film Contest here in our hometown. Now has audiences anxiously waiting for his new short feature, Joey's Big Reveal, arriving later this year. Please welcome our good friend, Tyler LaPlant.
Go! Also joining the panel tonight, if you've been watching our revival of Hellhound Film Club, you've probably noticed in multiple episodes now, frequent New England concert traveler, film enthusiast, and dear friend of the podcast. Please give it up one time for Jessica Cantwell. And also joining us for the first time, a friend that we happened to just make here in our beautiful little pop-up micro theater. He joined us because he thought what we were doing looked cool, and we've been hanging out all day, and it's been awesome, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about a goofy movie that we just watched and so much more. Give it up for our new friend, Nathan.
And as always, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It's a privilege to have you here for another special installment of the Hellhound Film Club. But before we get in too deep, first things first, as always, tonight we are live from the spot in downtown Nashua, New Hampshire, one of Nashua's and New Hampshire's first dry bar and Gate City's most interesting entertaining lounges, featuring a delicious selection of premium ingredient cocktails, coffees, kavas, and more. In addition to the brand new late night menu available courtesy of the legendary Joanne's Kitchen, who I just ate a ton of that food.
Seriously.
Ooh.
You guys don't get it. You can literally order Joanne's Kitchen and have it delivered to your seat while you're watching a movie on the projector with your friends. And you can have some kava and have a good time.
Forgot to get my lava cake.
Oh, man. Luckily, there's next week.
Yep, and you know what? They should come check us out for the Hellhound Film Club live, free movie night and podcast recording on Wednesdays night at 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, when the doors open at 7 p.m. And an exciting announcement, we're going to be pulling 2 random winners before the end of each episode. One commenter from last week's main video will receive a prize, and we'll have 24 hours to claim it via email. And one random attendee of our live recording will win a prize each week as well. So you got to be here to win. Comment on the videos and show up in person to double your chances.
And let's show them tonight's prize for the people that showed up here. So admittedly, we're still building up comments on the YouTube videos. Yep. We're getting there. So that's why we've been delaying the start of doing this. But shout out to some people that are good friends of ours that have been supporting the podcast for a long time. We're starting to see more comments. So the goal is every week we're going to pick one random person from the comments and one person here. We're going to have 2 gifts for them. It's going to be different, but for example, a commenter from last week's video could get a DVD copy of a Goofy movie, for example, the one that we just screened here for our film club. However, if you showed up for the screening tonight, you're entered into a little prize thing to win this. Let me see if I can hit a good.
Whoever wins better me to their car. That's a one of one Hellhound Film Club, a goofy movie made specifically just for this prize tonight.
Ta-da!
And he's already told me he can make me a copy for me, but I want that copy.
So yeah, so designed is a loose word, but I did customize this poster. It's a one of one. It has a bunch of layers and edits to it that I did, and obviously I put our credits, and it has the date that we screened the movie here to watch, and it's framed in a 12x18 frame.
So it has layers of edits on it to make it happen. Wouldn't that be a design?
Yeah, I just didn't want to take credit for the artwork. Technically, I was manipulating artwork into new artwork. You know,
I got a question. When you sample Coltrane and use it in new music, right? It's not like you're using somebody else's.
that's like sampling the Bible, young man. That's hope the mic didn't pick up that one. So you just saw the poster. For our conversation tonight, we're taking quite a pivot from what's expected from programming like Hellhound Film Club. This movie holds a dear place in my heart, and I think through the years it has been sorely underrated and has taken a long time to begin earning its well-deserved praise and acknowledgement. Tonight's feature, as you caught in the poster, is the 1995 animated musical road comedy classic, the one, the only, A Goofy Movie.
So this is the goofiest episode ever.
Yeah. I don't know why whenever I say a goofy movie, I feel like I got to do it as like a sports announcer. It doesn't feel like I can say it the same way. It's like, this week we watched Rashomon. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like something about it. You just have to be like, a goofy movie.
And it's funny that you say that you have to do it like a sports announcer, and this movie has nothing to do with sports.
Not at all. Not at all.
So this was originally released in theaters on April 7th, 1995, and based on the 1992 animated series Goof Troop that takes place 3 years after the events of that show. The standalone A Goofy Movie follows Goofy and his now teenage son Max as they embark upon a misguided father-son fishing trip across the United States.
Being an animated feature from the 90s, perhaps layman's fans will associate this with other Disney properties and simply think of it as childhood fodder or one of the Disney movies. But A Goofy Movie is truly a one-of-a-kind feature from its animation, its music, its songwriting, its thematic tones, the overall scope of the storytelling and how many emotional arcs it hits. At the time it was released, it received polarizing reviews from critics, but in the years since, it has gone on to be reevaluated and appreciated as a true cult classic.
In a 2020 editorial for Rotten Tomatoes, Raphael Matameo wrote,
featuring a small-scale story that kids can see themselves in, an excellent portrayal of teenage life and father-son relationships, and, crucially, a soundtrack filled with earworms to rival the work of Rice and Menken. The movie has something for everyone.
Today, A Goofy Movie is revered and lauded as one of the most beloved Disney films of all time. Wild how a movie of this stature can go from a meager box office performer to a cultural cornerstone in over 30 years.
Seriously. So I know that before we started doing this, because this isn't the second time we're recording this podcast tonight.
Not at all.
I know that we've all seen this prior. So I'll start with you, Danny, since you have the other microphone. Do you remember about how long it's been since you first saw this, and how does it make you feel now compared to then?
So for me, it's been probably a good 20 plus years since I've seen this movie. And for me, this movie holds a dear spot in my heart because when I was about 16, when this movie came out on VHS and you could rent it, I was at a video stop, which was right next to the food stop. And when we were in there, we were renting movies for a Friday night, like family night. And my mom's boyfriend at the time, his youngest son, runs up and asks his dad, "Hey, Dad, can I get a Goofy movie?" And I could kind of see in his face, like a roll of his eyes, like this is just going to be like a dumb movie, but whatever. You get what you're going to get. And when we ended up getting back to the house, and obviously we put the more kid-friendly movies on first, he puts his pick in, and it's actually a Goofy movie.
What did you expect from this kid who goes to food stop and video stop? Everything in his life is literal. When he said a Goofy movie, he meant goddamn a Goofy movie.
Was not expecting a real Goofy movie. I was expecting some silly, foolish cartoon movie, but not an actual Goofy movie. So, yeah, 100% is still cartoon, but because of that, with the attached story to it, this movie always holds dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Kind of like pulls on the heartstrings and just kind of reminds me of that younger, better days when things were just a little easier in life.
Right. Oh, I feel that.
So, first time you've seen it, right?
Where you know, we're just gonna ask you that for every
time.
movie now. We had a good streak though, so
We'll get it back.
Yeah.
We'll get it
oh
back.
yeah.
What were your questions again?
So I was just really curious as to what age or how long it's been since you first saw this and how it makes you feel now compared to when you first saw it.
I was about 7 when this came out. It's a cartoon, so I thought it was goofy and funny. And obviously I didn't get like all the like little side jokes and stuff like that as a kid. But now watching it as like an adult, it was like, oh yeah, there's that little twist there. Or like the little Easter eggs they had in there, and you're picking them up now and being like, oh, that's pretty cool. So
I dig that. So as we had mentioned in the intros, we have a new friend joining us on the panel tonight. We actually just met here at Film Club. He was here while we were setting up and asked what we were doing and decided to hang out. He watched a Goofy movie with us. We've been talking music and all sorts of stuff. And now I'm excited to talk movies with him. So Nathan, do you remember how long it's been since you first saw this, and how did you feel upon rewatching it now?
I caught it randomly on Disney XD like a long time ago when I was a teenager.
Let me get a little more. Let me actually just turn you up real quick.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
There you go. You just got to be louder. That's all.
Yeah, all right. So I was a teenager, I remember. I just caught it randomly on Disney XD. Honestly, now that I've seen it now and analyzed it, I'd say it's a good kids movie about how you have people in your life that have these awkward indifferences, but at the end of the day, they are good people, and in the end, they're there to help you. So I'd say that's a pretty good lesson. It's beautifully animated as well.
Seriously, that really was like it really is like a remarkably beautiful movie on so many levels. Tyler, I want to ask you the same kind of thing. Do you remember about like what age you were and kind of like how this makes you feel now compared to when you first saw that?
Yeah, I was a kid. I think it was probably like 7 or 8. And my mom used to work at the Gold's Gym on Amherst Street.
Shout out
And,
to Gold's Triple H.
Yeah, and she worked like sort of in the daycare section, and they had it on VHS. And I remember, like, I never saw it in theaters as a kid, and I didn't have like a DVD or VHS copy of it, unfortunately. But we had it there at the gym, and I would watch it sometimes because it was really, it was very different from a lot of the other Disney movies I've seen. I feel like I kind of grew up in the big like princess boom. So like I would always associate a lot of Disney movie aside from the Pixar stuff with like, oh, well, they make princess movies, But I really enjoyed a Goofy movie, and yeah, I mean the animation's incredible, and there's aspects of it that I enjoy and appreciate now as an adult a lot more than I did when I was a kid. But there's also things that I dislike more now as an adult than that kind of went over my head as a kid that I didn't care about so much.
Interesting. Okay, I definitely want to get into that at some point tonight. So being an animated feature, sorry, let me crank that back, Danny. Can you just say what's up to me real quick?
What's up?
All right, cool. One of the poignant aspects of a Goofy movie is its outstanding voice cast. From notable voices like Bill Farmer, who had been the voice of Goofy since 1987, Jason Marsden, who actually was the cat in Hocus Pocus. He was also one of the American voice dub actors for Spirited Away. And he was one of the friends of the boys in Boys Meets World for like a bunch of episodes too.
Full House also.
That's right, Full House too. Is it Stephanie's boyfriend?
Yep.
And so Jason Marsden was the voice of Max in this. So he had already he was tapped into youth culture at the time.
Still a huge voiceover actor now.
And then you had like people like Wallace Shawn and so many people. There was even previously, like at the time the movie came out, there was an uncredited role from Pauly Shore, as we all kind of picked up right away, and Tevin Campbell was the voice of Powerline and went uncredited for that too. So I say all that to kind of lead into asking you guys each about what was your favorite voice performance in this, and what about it stuck out the most to you compared to the other voice work?
For me, it's very simple. Pauly Shore.
I can see. I don't.
Pauly Shore, no hands, no doubts about it. Like that. For me, it's like, even though he wasn't credited for it, at the age that I watched that, like, it was like, my high school stoner years. So like, Pauly Shore was just like the funny guy at that era.
It was like such a perfect time.
So like, to have him added into it was kind of like that adult like comedy, you know what I'm saying? Because he just had that. Yeah, Cheese Whiz, man.
Yeah, it was like he didn't really even have to do anything. He just showed up and read the lines as he would anyways.
like in normal life. Just come in, read these lines, and go about your business.
Yeah, seriously. Like, this whole movie's gonna take you like 30 minutes to record if you just want to come in here and knock this out.
Right, and we'll write you a check, and you don't even have to put your name on it.
Yep, literally. That's so wild.
So for me, it's just because of like the comedies and things that I was growing up at, like in that like era of my life, like, so it just stuck out with me. So it was going to be kind of like again, like that little heartstring, because it reminds me when I think of other things that went on in my life with like Pauly Shore is around it, like movies, things like that. So.
I feel that. Jess, what about you? What was your like favorite voice acting performance in this? Was there a character that kind of struck a chord with you in that regard?
I think I'll just have to go with traditional Bill Farmer.
Okay.
And it's iconic. It's goofy. It's you hear that voice without even seeing the character, and you know who it is immediately. Yeah, classic Goofy.
I like that. Nathan, same question, sir.
I'm gonna have to go with classic Goofy, but in a different light, because I see his voice actually as a weird contrast in the world, where it's like I see this world as like a Disney's 90s world, and when I think of Goofy, he's like a classic cartoon character. So it's kind of like weird to hear his voice in the background with like other people who are like 90s fied.
Right, I totally get that.
So in that regard, he's like my favorite voice actor because he's like the classic actually remember watching classic Disney cartoons when I was a kid, like way back Disney cartoons where there was still like kind of Looney Tunes. Like,
Yeah. What about you, Tyler?
I gotta give some love for the voice actor for Max.
Jason Marsden.
Jason Marsden. Really amazing performance. Lot of heart, lot of conviction for the heavy moments. But one thing I will say is like it is very obvious that he's not a teenager, which like it doesn't take me out of the story or of it doesn't take me out of the movie like emotionally or whatever, but it is just your classic like thinking back on like Grease where it's all like 35-year-olds and 28-year-olds playing like 15, 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah, like homie, you're not 14 years old. Like
but no, and also to keep the streak going for Bill Farmer because
yeah,
I mean it's so funny and not to date myself as the young person here, but like I feel like the voice of Goofy has been so like memeified online that unfortunately like I'm watching this movie, there's like a certain level of like I'm thinking about all the shit posts about like Goofy doing like saying it outrageous things, and it just gets me, and I'm like, oh, this is hilarious.
Goofy, we still love you, big dog.
or the one of Max in the beginning of the first song where he's like, today's the day they're going to see, and he kicks open the gate, and then it just that's the parody I saw. There's just gunfire after.
I'm gonna have to say, like, just to bring up like about the voice acting is for me, one of the big things here is Bill Farmer, the amount of emotion that he was able to show through like Goofy's like tone, the way that like he used his voice, where I felt like he showed like a lot of range in like in Goofy's emotion level that I didn't feel like you got in like the early like Goofy. Like Goofy was just kind of like the silly character, where I felt like this particular movie gave him a chance to like use range and like the emotions, because I just don't feel like you saw that earlier.
Fucking guy stole my notes. That's literally what I had written down. I literally said because I knew you guys I was gonna get asked. I wrote Bill Farmer gets to show a level of emotional range that I feel is unprecedented in his time with the character thus far.
I hadn't gotten that far in the notes yet.
That's what I mean.
I'm still stuck up here. My bad, dude. I'm sorry.
That's what I was gonna say though, is especially you think about 95, the animated Disney sphere wasn't what we know it as today yet. You know what I mean? It was still building that up, building that momentum.
I think they were still wasting their money on amusement parks.
He said that they were still wasting their money on amusement parks, which is very accurate. It seems like a trend that hasn't died somehow.
It's like $2,000 to take a family of 4 there now.
I know, for real. Oh yeah, but what I was saying was because the animated feature scope the catalog wasn't too large, there hadn't been a lot of opportunities for Goofy to have any sort of emotional range. Like there was no reason for us to see him in a vulnerable state or like trying to connect with a younger person or whatever. And the fact that they took that kind of risk at this point, where it's like they could have easily like baseball, home run that as some road trip adventure movie, and they dug into a lot of shit that was like pretty deep for like a kid's movie, especially just like the dynamic between the kid and the parent and shit. It's like, yo, my dad would have beat the shit out of me if I talked to him the way that Max talked to Goofy a couple times. You know what I'm saying?
So your dad would have been Pete.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, my dad would have been Pete. He would have friggin' gave me the boot and thrown me off the mountain.
It's
I say though, but that shows the Goofy's character is just that kind of a nice enough guy where it's like you were supposed to feel like awful when Max is ever like mean to him though, because like in the end he's not doing anything wrong. He's basically just being a fool. But like it is kind of stupid that he doesn't see that his son obviously is uncomfortable by it. Like obviously he has a level of ineptability that is just astounding. More than Pluto the dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that might be a good way, like segue into like one of the more. I feel like the only major criticism I have. Or wait, am I jumping the gun?
no.
No,
No. Okay. All right.
shoot
Well,
your shot.
I was gonna say like one criticism that I do have is with the plot, and you brought up Spirited Away, which is a movie that what year did this come out? Like 1998,
95.
95. All right, so I know Spirited Away came out in 2001, but both marketed towards like children and like young preteens and stuff, and I feel like this movie is very good and it does tug at the heartstrings. Like I have a strange father, so like there's parts of this movie that kind of stung a little bit more than I was expecting, which is always fun to add to the list next to like Paris, Texas, and shit like that. But anyway, thanks, Win-Winders.
Hold on.
I just need to denote in time that our podcast officially has a Goofy movie in Paris, Texas on the same lineage right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, film gods.
Oh, dude. But yeah, one thing I will say is that it's very simple story, and it, and to build off your point, Nate, like it's very it's very obvious that Max is uncomfortable, but at the same time, like Max immediately lies to both his love interest and to his father. Whereas like, I feel like it just kind of teaches kids like, yeah, lying is wrong, but like it also doesn't teach kids how to like properly have those conversations with a parent of like, hey, this is the situation we're in, but like I have a new budding love interest. Like this could be, really important for me. But obviously, I mean, it's goofy. Like it's gotta be. I don't think it can really like. This isn't BoJack Horseman. We're not gonna get super deep with stuff. So it's like, I think it's like I said, great kids movie. But I do feel like the plot is very simple, where they could have added a little bit more depth. And I'm gonna pass off because I have more points, but I'll bounce off to that later.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that you had a problem with the movie starting off with his love relationship starting off on a lie, manipulating his father, still going to the concert, and still getting the love interest at the end.
Yeah.
So you're telling me lying and manipulation doesn't get me what I want?
Yes.
But I think my question to you is, while you could want more from an early animated Disney feature, do you really expect more in terms of like when you compare it to the breadth of other animated features in Disney's catalog and the simplicity of them and the intention of them? Would you feel that this fails to meet expectation, or would you see this as going above and beyond with the ability to have done more had the room for risk been negligible, I guess?
So okay, I think really that pretty much the how do I say this? I think it fits expectations, but not in a bad way. It fits the check marks of like a good Disney movie, and that's not a bad thing. And I think Disney being simple and being approachable for all ages is like, excuse me, that's a core function of what Disney is. And so I think it hit, this movie certainly hits the nail on the head there. Whereas I think, when you give kids something more challenging, something like Spirited Away, which, like there's B plots, there's a lot of characters, there's a lot going on. And Obviously, extreme like apples and oranges with animation style. So this is not a comparison whatsoever. But like visually, like there's a lot more going on in that sort of movie at times, and like I feel like kids rewatch movies all the time, and I feel like if I'm gonna want if knock on wood, but like not that I ever want to be a parent because I don't, but like if I were to have kids, like I would definitely want them watching something that like okay, you're rewatching it and now you're understanding, why characters do things, whereas I feel like, my kid would get the point after watching it once, be like, oh yeah, don't lie to my dad, be close with my dad, and where's his mom, huh? Where's Goofy's wife at?
Oh, they did.
Where's PJ's mom?
They did.
Which is why I think like if we're really trying to spice it up a little bit, maybe the trip could have been like, hey, like your mom and I used to go on this trip and why don't you come with me? And he could still not want to go because he wants to go spend time with his like weirdly hot dog girlfriend. But like, that
She's 14.
okay, and she's a dog. Which one's worse?
That
for
they
you in
highly
this
sexualize
situation?
at the beginning of the movie.
It's the part we edit out.
Another thing I find interesting now that I think about it is that car scene. It is ludicrous that it floats, but I kind of think that's like classic Disney in a way. Kind of like in like a physics sort of cartoon-esque sort of like Looney Tunes. Why the hell is the car floating?
I appreciate that was the most visually shocking thing for you in this Disney cartoon was the car that floats on water.
How the hell does it sink?
All right, I do have a few more questions for you guys that I want to get into, and we kind of maybe you've kind of can I? No, I want to hear from you just because we haven't heard from you in a bit. But I feel like I'm expecting a good answer from you on this because of what you were just saying. So, while some people praised this upon its release initially, it spent a lot of time being overlooked by critics. It wasn't a huge box office success. It took a long time for people. It was really like home video culture that really like helped it catch on. And so when you compare that to the other like more theatrically successful Disney films, maybe the more notable ones or wherever, where does a Goofy movie stand in the midst of the like Disney catalog at large?
Probably, I'd say, yeah, in my top 10, but not in my top 5.
Okay. Can you give me a little more on like how it compares to some of the other Disney movies, maybe even the ones in your top 5?
Well, top number 1 is Aladdin.
Okay.
It's my favorite Disney movie of all time,
Dig that.
hands down. Number 2 is The Jungle Book.
Oh, okay.
So, like right there off the gate, there's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So, and Aladdin for me was the story, the kind of like the rags to riches kind of story. Because growing up, I didn't have a lot of money, so I've always wanted a lot of money. I wanted that lifestyle. I wanted the clothes. I wanted to ride the elephant and fly on the magic carpet. Like I wanted that.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to be the man. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was younger, that entire story. Also, Robin Williams playing the genie was.
So is what I'm gathering that while you like or love a Goofy movie, that a movie like Aladdin that was a little more majestical holds a little brighter of a candle? Is that like a fair assessment?
Also for me, when it comes to Disney movies, I'm a big fan of the soundtrack, the songs in the Disney movies. And Aladdin to me is like one of the most fun like soundtracks. I like this look because you're about to argue with me and I want this argument.
It's not that I'm about to argue with you. Taste is discernible.
Yep.
I'm happy that the Aladdin soundtrack brings you so much joy. But if you're making contemporary music comparisons, the impact that this music had on like greater generations, I think that this is a lot more important musically than like Aladdin has great music in it, but I think that it adds to the entertainment that's already there. I think that the music in this movie helps to establish the relationship boundaries and the possibility of infringing upon those boundaries. And kind of deeper than that too, when you're looking at like Powerline and Goofy and Max's relationship and things of that nature, that has like a greater magnitude where like as you like look into things, a lot of black families see like comparisons to the father-son relationship and gather a lot of like recognition and seeing Powerline being like the superstar and shit like that. And so that music has gone, and then once you found out it's Tevin Campbell, of course, you know, like a R&B icon. I think that if that was your qualifier as music, that a Goofy movie's music stands out far more. But I could understand why, depending on what your qualifiers were for a movie, that you might enjoy Aladdin more than something else. You know what I mean? Like, taste is subjective. So if you enjoy Aladdin more, you enjoy Aladdin more. I wouldn't argue with you on that.
Okay. But I mean, you're talking about how it was subjective to basically a group of individuals. Like, that's how you just basically placed it. Like, to me, it's like how music makes you feel.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, the like Prince Ali, like that's a very fun, up-tempo kind of like you're watching a movie, feel good kind of movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And those type of songs, the Genie's, you know, Friend Like Me, it's a fun, enjoyable song in a fun, enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
So for me, that's all I was saying is like,
Oh no, continue. I wanted to expand on your point a little bit because I kind of agree with you in a point where like it's the same thing where like I was talking about Spirited Away, but it's the same thing where it's like this is like almost apples and oranges because this is a very like of its time sort of a Goofy movie soundtrack is very much like of its time in the 90s, very like like R&B of the time, whereas I think Aladdin just kind of reinforces like Disney's like ability of doing like great like show tunes and like musical set pieces, which like musically I think and also just Disney wise like I prefer that myself, like however there are obviously some super catchy tunes in a Goofy movie, but like I feel like I don't know, there's a lot of not fluff, but like a Goofy movie's like doesn't like toe the line. It's not like a full musical. Like there's maybe like 5 or 6 songs, right? Something like that. Like within that they sing in the movie, like maybe there was an original soundtrack that they sent out or whatever. But I don't know, like, but yeah, Aladdin has like kind of hit after hit. But yeah, I am a big old Aladdin guy. I added some songs recently, but I gotta add some songs from a Goofy movie too, because Powerline fucking rocks, dude. He's not a rock star though. They call him a rock star in the movie. Respectfully, he's not a rock star. I just gotta call that.
I would say where I would put the Goofy movie is it's not something on the level as 101 Dalmatians, but it's like more of on the lines of like a Disney movie TV sort of thing, where it's like the Goofy movie. You show up, you get the Goofy movie, you don't get anything too shockingly, and then that's basically it. So that's basically my thoughts on it. I'd give this movie a 7 out of 10. Pretty good kids movie. I'd say my favorite song would have to be When They're Stuck on the Car. It's a great duet solo.
I thought you were trying to say something.
I was saying it's you.
What was the question?
The idea is, how does a Goofy movie compare to the other movies that you enjoy within the Disney catalog?
I think it's a staple of my childhood. Like I remember like watching certain movies. You know, you pick your top ones and you watch them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I remember my brother-in-law, he watched like my husband said that he watched like A Bug's Life over and over and over and over again. You know, it was kind of one of those that I would watch. But I would agree it's not as good as like The Lion King or 101 Dalmatians and stuff like that to me. But it is something I have that I'm like, oh, I remember watching that during my childhood. So, yeah.
I think I got to touch back. I think he used the word that I was looking for. Show tunes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be kicking A Whole New World around the house often. I'm not like, that's what I mean. I'm not a hater.
No,
like,
no.
A whole new world.
No, it's just I think my age of growing up prior to a Goofy movie was all of these movies I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Little Mermaid, you know, you got Under the Sea, you got Kiss the Girl, you got like these kind of like show tuney songs. And
yeah, oh, for sure.
I just think because I grew up in an era that was what a Disney movie was. Where I see this movie, ironically, I see a Goofy movie for a title being a Goofy movie. I actually find it more deep than that.
And I think that's why it has so much gravity with me. And so, admittedly, I guess I'm kind of surprised that everybody had a little easier of a time, like compartmentalizing it somehow. But I don't know. To me, it's like, there wasn't a ton of Disney movies that I really like gravitated to. Like obviously, like I had mentioned earlier in the pod, I loved Aladdin too. You know what I mean? But then of course you get older and you come to find out that Aladdin wasn't the best portrayal. You know, it wasn't the most fair. They had to change music because the music wasn't very nice. So it starts to kind of like stain what is like a beautiful work of art and like an incredible thing, as where this is kind of like the comeback kid story where it's like people didn't give it a chance, and then as time went on they're like, oh, there's a lot of like psychological value in this, the fact that they're working on relationships and they're learning how to bond as a parent and a son, and you know, like all of these different things. I just thought that I felt like, to me, this would be my top 5 of Disney movies, but like 101 Dalmatians don't really like, never really held a place for me. You know, like I remember seeing Hercules at the drive-through. I mean, the drive-through. Wow, the drive-in. I saw Hercules at the drive-in. No, like I have more memories of being at the drive-in than I do watching the movie. You know what I mean? As where like this always stuck out to me. So I think that's why I was like, man, this is like the slept on, like this is like if Disney had their own like Criterion collection, this would be one of those movies. It's like, maybe you didn't give this a chance, but you should, because there's a lot more substance to it than what looks like on the outside looking at.
I was gonna say, like, just to snowball a little bit, like I think my like either number 1 or number 2, I'm gonna exclude Pixar because they're kind of their own beast. We were talking like Disney Renaissance, like the late 80s through 90s, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Mulan. I love Mulan. I grew up in a house with like, you know, my mom, my grandparents, and I have 2 aunts who were adopted from China. And that was like a big, and you know, they grew up more in the 90s and, you know, or late 90s rather. And, So like that was huge. Like when that movie came out, like that was huge in our house. While we would watch, we had it on every sort of format, like Disney Vault, everything, like, and I grew up watching that movie like so many times. And yeah, that's always been the one that's really, really stuck with me as a kid. And I'm not ashamed to still rewatch that. And I don't know, the music always hits me. There's like, real stakes. Like it's a fucking war. Like they're fighting the Huns. Those guys aren't nice. Like, usually. So like, there's some serious stakes in Mulan. Like, like in this, I don't know, the stakes in a Goofy movie are a little whack. Like there's the stakes, what he's got to lie to get pussy when the chick's already into him.
Unnecessary foul.
No, well, dude, I'm just saying, she's literally fighting
dope.
Mulan.
That's why Goofy movies kind of not as dope.
No, well, that's what I'm saying is because Mulan, she's fucking like cross-dressing so that she can protect her fucking father who's like crippled, and now she's fighting the Huns. And then also like there's like definitely some like sort of queer undertone thing because like he falls in love with her pretty fast. It doesn't take him long to be like, yeah, I'm attracted to her now. He was maybe a little attracted to her before the general guy, the Dark Side of the Moon guy. And I'm not talking Pink Floyd.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Sorry, I go on little tangents.
Holy, oh, that's so good.
I'm pretty sure we decided cross-dressing, homosexuality.
Yeah, dude,
Yep.
he's clearly like they're sharing a tent. It's war.
Oh.
That
And welcome,
was-
Tyler, to the podcast.
And welcome back.
I got a queer question, actually. I've been wanting to say this and bring this up because, like I said, it's been a while since I've rewatched this movie. And when I just rewatched this movie, I got this weird vibe through the movie. All right? It's going to sound crazy, but oh boy. I felt like Goofy was Danny Tanner from Full House.
Okay.
And I felt like Pete was Carl Winslow
Wow.
from Families Matters.
That's wild. I'm not like
I'm just saying, do you get that vibe now that I've said it out loud? Do you feel that vibe? Like,
yeah, for sure. It's a hard one to talk about because ACAB, even Carl Winslow. But when I was a kid, I always thought he was a nice dad. Like I didn't think he was as much of a piece of shit as Pete.
no, it wasn't that. No, I'm just saying, like,
But they do have the same demeanor, the same kind of gruff.
but I mean, like, but Pete more like, it wasn't like, he was more like, just have him under your thumb, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he was still loving and caring because he was like, my son respects me, like he's,
But even at that, remember at that part in the hot tub, Goofy says something about my son loves me, and he's like, my son respects me. It's like that's a weird thing to say. Like your kid is a teenager. Like how many teenagers respect their parents? You know what I mean? It's like you earn respect as a parent through time when your kid grows up. It's not just like expected,
but he's
because you're
instilled
the drill
it from childhood from him. So
yeah.
So in the future, his child might not love him now, but when he gets older, he's going to realize everything that he did was for his own good. So he respect him as a child and learn to love him as an adult. Where you might not, where you could love somebody now but never respect them. So it was like,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's definitely one of like probably the most like a complicated like emotional through line like moment in the movie is he's like, my son, when he says my son loves me, he's like, oh well, my son respects me. And that really fucking hit me because it's about what these two individuals value. And there's definitely one of the three writers of this movie has a sort of rough relationship with their dad. And like I see that because I feel like this was definitely like, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but like I feel like this is a boomer movie in the way that it was written by people who are boomers, and the values of like not connecting, not connecting with your dad, but still having that emotional through line, and or also like, oh God, I got to be respected by my father. I got to have a good job. I got to have, a great house, a good car, beautiful wife. Like, these sort of Yeah, exactly. White picket fence, like these sort of ideals, are just or intrinsic values that you're supposed to like pick up as a kid on how to be a man. And it's like, there are two ways of like, not two ways, but there are two, one good way and one bad way of like raising like a young guy and trying to just chase respect or rather than just being openly loved is like, huge. And I think to have a kid movie, have that and be able to like open that discussion with kids is really beautiful, and it's something that I definitely give major props to for this movie.
I feel like the prior context to that line is also important because they were disgusting. Pete had said to him, check the map. And he said that he didn't need to because his son loved him. And he turned around and said, my son respects me. And then Goofy gets into the car, checks the map to find out his son lied to him.
He doesn't check the map. He gets into the car to like decompress and he like hits something and the map pops open. So
Well,
he still was holding out for Max.
It was what I'm saying. But on the same note, when it popped out, he could have just folded up the map and put it back.
He's got a movie.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the same thing because Max never intended to change the map. The map just popped out of the thing and the pencil just magically rolled down for him to then it broke to give him the opportunity to like stop what he was doing, and he chose to finish it. So like I'm just saying, like I just believe that like the context also is like important because like he was like he respects me, but he's also saying like he respects me enough not to lie to me or deceive me. Like that's also like the context of the way I took that line, you know what I mean? Like the line could be taken in any type of context of how you want it to be taken based on how you feel inside. It's the same thing like reading a text message. Text message doesn't tell you how the person typed it. You assumed how the person typed it.
He says that with a lot of experience of reading text messages and responding to them and not making people anxious. I want to bring up an interesting fact because you mentioned the writers on the movie, so I'm wondering if you already like dug into this. One of the co-writers on this movie was Chris Matheson, who was one of the co-creators of the Bill and Ted franchise.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Right? It does, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. I want to ask each of you guys.
Didn't that series start off with a son and dad problem too?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's why it like makes perfect sense that he would keep working out these issues.
Never
Okay.
worked it out. Just put them on screen.
Only because we're short on time and as short of detail as possible, what was your highest high and your lowest low of this movie? Thing you loved the most, thing that bothered you the most?
Thing I loved the most was the bonding of the father and son at the end. Not really growing up with a male role model and then having a gentleman come into my life and marry my mom and become my dad to me, and building that type of a bond reminds me of that. So, kind of tugs on the heartstrings a little bit there. The low for me was I didn't get to see more of the bowling in the badass camping RV. I'm a bowler. I used to be a big bowler.
That was pretty gangster.
So just to see like an RV with a bowling alley on it, it's kind of.
I wouldn't have been mad about seeing more of that. You know what's funny? We were talking about how this isn't a sports movie, but the sequel, an extremely goofy movie, is literally
Very sports.
It's just like an X Games plug, basically. But I was like watching and doing research for this. I was like, I need to get that next. I was like, I don't know why. I think because it was like a straight to video thing. That's why I never saw it.
Huge focus on skateboarding.
Yeah,
Huge
exactly.
focus.
So I'm like, that's right up my speed. Jess, I want to ask you the same question. What is your highest high and your lowest low from this?
I think probably, you know, the high would be obviously like that it's great music, obviously. The like seeing the relationship get stronger and the bond get better. I mean, obviously it had its highs and its lows, but most parents go through that.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And so like seeing it and then watching the final, like going to the concert or the show and stuff like that and actually getting to be on stage, it was just like that completed their like little bond.
Yeah.
In a low, I'm not really sure because it's a pretty good movie and I can't really think of like a really low part for me. So
Hey, I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's right up my alley. Well, you know, the same question to you, Nathan.
All right, the low, the damn floating car.
Of course, we're going back to the car.
Defies all logic. I hate it. Look at it float. It's mocking me. Okay, the
goodness.
highest high though, the R&B singer. He's not that bad, honestly. He does
Yeah.
a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Slightly famous.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Tevin Campbell. Remarkable
He
talent.
does a pretty decent job at a Michael Jackson impression.
Cold-blooded. Ouch.
Highest. I'm gonna talk fast because I'm gonna try to fit as much as I can really fast. Highest high. Animation is incredible. Really great emotional through line. There's this shot when they're at a diner and it's like a reflection of a bell, and then it like pulls out, and it's just like, oh wow, it's great when animated movies do shots like that because it's like you can only do this when it's animated. You know what I mean? And to use the medium to your advantage like that, incredible. The motel that they go in with the waterbed with the fish inside the waterbed, I don't think it's ethical, but it's so fucking cool. I want to be there. So incredible. That is one. I don't remember much about this movie, but that was one of the things that I was like, wow, that place is so fucking sick. And then you know, definitely there's some emotional moments that hit a lot. If you have a rough relationship with your dad, you should watch this movie and then, you know, be sad for the day. It's good for you sometimes. And then yeah, lowest low, I think it's a little too simple sometimes. I'm also 24 years old, so I'm looking at it through that lens. I got to be critical. And also sometimes some of the jokes just don't really like land as much as they used to. When I was a kid, I'm just like, okay, you know, like there's some stuff that's great. Like I was laughing throughout the movie, but there are some jokes I'm just like, all right, you know, like I'm not 8. This isn't for me. Like I respect that. Like, but yeah, great stuff. Thank you. Very good job.
Thank you. I made the movie myself, actually. Well,
Just for us, thank you.
yeah, just for this event. I'm going to skip the next question only because it sounds like it did make everybody think about, I was going to ask if this, like, because it's surprising to me, this has a lot more emotional arcs than a typical Disney movie. And maybe I'm wrong because we all seem to have different experiences watching Disney movies. To me, this was like the most like, this felt like it could have been like a 90s, like Dangerous Minds or something like that, where it's like, man, if they just turned the switch up a little bit, this could have been like a heavy ass movie, but they like threw the musicals in to be like, it's Disney. It's cool. It's goofy. But I don't know. I feel like not even just like the father-son thing, but I feel like it makes me reflect upon my relationships with people more in general. Because there's this contrast of like, well, Max is going for what he wants, but he's also sacrificing his relationship with his dad unknowingly. And then there's like these different moments of like, well, I'm upset and I should be allowed to like feel how I feel, but like I shouldn't always make that somebody else's problem and hurt them because I don't know how to deal with what I'm dealing with. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in there that it's like, you know what? Maybe we could work on being better to people, you know, like maybe there's still a few things to iron out in this whole relationships with human beings kind of thing. Funny fact, because we all seem to be on the same page about Bill Farmer. So Jeffrey Katzenberg, you probably heard of him. He's like a super evil Disney executive. But he's been a Disney executive for like 40 plus years or whatever. He was actually the person who sought to get this movie made. Like, he knew that the IP was worth something, found people to get it made. And while they had already been in the process of making it, he wanted to replace Bill Farmer, and he wanted Goofy to have a regular voice. And they were thinking of casting fucking Steve Martin. That would have been so insane, dude. Could you imagine Steve Martin reading Goofy's lines as like regular Steve Martin?
Thank God they fired whoever.
Literally, yeah. Luckily, the cast, like the crew in the cast, like revolted and like luckily got what they wanted. But it was like, dude, he had already recorded, like Bill Farmer had recorded like 25 sessions or something like that, and they were just ready to like throw it in and start all over again because of their insecurity.
Did you know before Bill Farmer became the voice of Goofy, it was like a multitude of people that did Goofy's voice?
Yeah.
And then they were like, we want one person. That was just like Mickey was the same thing. They had a
Yeah.
bunch of voices that did Mickey. And then finally they had one voice that they picked. And it was like, I think it was like the third or fourth like project that Farmer was doing.
You like imagine that.
That he finally realized, oh, I'm the voice of Goofy now. Like, they didn't even tell him.
Right?
Like, they just kept assigning him the Goofy projects.
Dude, that's so gnarly. So let's go around and get quick so Nathan, because you're new to us, are you from I'm gonna steal that from you just so he can answer my
absolutely.
questions. Are you familiar with a platform called Letterboxd?
No.
Letterboxd is essentially a social media platform for movies. All you do is just rate, review, log, watch list movies. A lot of directors and actors will go on there and like make lists of movies that influence them.
That's interesting.
So we like to review the movies that we watch at the end. And so Letterboxd uses a 5-star rating system, 5 being the best. So I'll give you a moment to think about it, but we're going to go around and ask everybody what their final thoughts are and what they would give a Goofy movie out of 5 stars. So take a moment to think about that. I'm going to steal that microphone back from you. And actually, you're right here, so we'll start with you.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Didn't grow up on it, so it does not have the nostalgic factor for me. Saw it a few times. Really great animation, really great music, and very kind of simple plot. Little loosey goosey. I wanted a little bit more from the plot, but 3.5 out of 5.
I dig that.
I give it a 4 out of 5. Basically, it's your typical Disney movie. It has your low point, but every Disney movie has their, typical low points during their stories. So I don't really see this movie as any specials, but that's just me.
All right. Hey, we'll take it. Jess, how are you feeling?
I would give it a 3. I know.
Wow.
I know. It's just not like I enjoy the movie. I remember watching it from my childhood, but it wasn't one of those that I grabbed. Like, if I was trying to think of a movie, that's not one of the first ones I would think to grab at all as a kid. I'd be like, oh, I've kind of cycled through these ones. Maybe I'll watch a Goofy movie.
Wow.
I know.
All right.
I know.
Rather watch Dalmatians?
Yeah. I was such a like animal Disney kind of girl.
All right. Well,
I
mean,
like, I don't like the princess movies, and so I can't. No.
There it is.
But
That's what she used. 101 Dalmatians. Lion King.
but it's still a great movie. I would never tell someone that if someone asked me about it, I would 100% recommend that movie. So it's not.
oh my God, the look on his face. Hold on. The look on his face.
So I would give this movie a 3, but because of nostalgia and the story behind it, it's a 3.5.
Well, What is it? Is it a 3 or a
3.5.
All right, 3.5.
3.5 because
right.
of the nostalgia.
All
That
right.
adds value to it for me.
Could be worse.
And yours, good sir? Where are they gonna have to go find it?
They can find me on Letterboxd, Cody Pope. Make sure you go follow me over there. I review all the movies that I watch here on Film Club with the gang, as well as all the movies that I watch in my regular life in general. So make sure you follow me over there. My name is Cody Pope on Letterboxd. Super easy to find.
So if you want that rating, that's where you got to go to find it.
You'll see my rating, my review, and in the review will be a link to the episode where you can watch our discussion on this tonight as well. Before we get out of here tonight, we're going to run through some local screenings and event listings. As always, if you have a local theater or event screening that you want to support, shoot us an email at hellhoundfilmclub@gmail.com, and we will be happy to plug it. And we're going to run a few of these. You want me to set this thing off, or do you want to set it off?
Go ahead and set it off.
All right. So
we'll see how bad I hurt myself at the end.
I think it's a quick one tonight. Starting this week, Saturday, April 4th through April 10th, is the New Metal Cinema series at Low Cinema in Ridgewood, New York, presented by Justin Laliberty. It's a tribute to 90s new metal that took over movie soundtracks all over. Cinematograph's Justin Laliberty curated a program schedule featuring iconic new metal scores in films including Spawn, Little Nicky, End of Days, Bride of Chucky, and more.
All right, it's my turn. Get the counter up in the corner. It's Sunday, April 5th, The Killers, in theaters nationally, presented by G-Kids. Witness truly one of the greatest action films of all time, a staple and a classic filmography. Get the counter up. Filmography of the classic John Woo in theaters as part of the G-Kids Hong Kong Cinema Classics Retrospect series. In The Killer, a Hong Kong hitman accidentally blinds an innocent woman during a hit. He is determined to get her surgery to help her regain her sight, but he needs to complete one more hit first. He completes the job, but then is ambushed as he tries to escape. Somebody wants him dead. Meanwhile, a resourceful, unorthodox police detective is hot on his trail.
Thursday, April 9th through Sunday, April 12th is the New Bedford Film Festival in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Film lovers and makers, save these dates to experience the New Bedford Film Festival for your first, second, or third time. Located in the vibrant South Coast region of Massachusetts, this annual festival is committed to showcasing diverse human experiences through various formats, including short and feature films, student shorts, music videos, episodic and documentary shorts, and PSA shorts. Film festival, which includes venues such as the New Bedford Harbor Hotel, Steeple Playhouse, Gallery X, and the New Bedford Art Museum, offer screenings and ample space for networking and panel discussions. Each evening, attendees are invited to network and celebrate the filmmakers, and different awards are presented. The opening night event will be held at the Steeple Playhouse, where technical award winners will be recognized during the festivities. The closing Academy Award-style ceremony will award talent in the top award for each category. Throughout the days, festival goers are encouraged to explore the downtown area, take advantage of special promotions, while presenting their official New Bedford Film Festival badge.
Monday, April 20th, The Woman Chaser 2K Restoration, presented by Justin Laliberty of cinematography at Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn, New York. This 1999 slept-on comedy gem starring Patrick Warburton, who some may recognize as the voice actor from Family Guy or the first live action version of The Tick, is about a 1950s used car salesman wants to make a low-budget film about a trucker who accidentally runs down a child.
And the New Hampshire Film Festival will be taking place October 15th through the 18th in downtown Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Submissions, I believe, are still open, and for details on that, you can visit www.nhfilmfestival.com. As always, we like to shout out some of our favorite theaters before we get out of here. Much love to the Coolidge Corner Cinema in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the Brattle Theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the Wilton Town Hall Theater in Wilton, New Hampshire, the Milford Drive-In in Milford, New Hampshire, the Mendon Twin Drive-In Theater in Mendon, Massachusetts, the Somerville Theater in Somerville, Massachusetts, the Circle Cinema Theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is, if you watched our Outsiders episode, where the opening of The Outsiders was filmed, and the Admiral Twin Drive-In in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is also seen in The Outsiders, is still operational and functional today. So wherever you're at, support your local independent movie theater and keep sending us your recommendations to check out theaters as we travel around the country this year. Send your event listings and theater recommendations to Hellhound Film Club at gmail.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe to our main YouTube channel, Hellhound Publishing, and subscribe to our newest channel, Hellhound Film Club, dedicated to the show, as well as bonus clips, bonus episodes, exclusive interviews, and more. The subs and comments really take us places.
Consider being a part of our Patreon community for just $1 a month. You'll get exclusive and early access to Hellhound Film Club, as well as all of the other podcasts, music, and book releases from Hellhound Publishing. Since 2018, you can join today and help support us for just $1 a month to get access to all of our great entertainment going back to when this whole thing started. Join now by visiting patreon.com/hellhoundpublishing.
And don't forget, you can join us here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the Spot in downtown Nashua, New Hampshire, for our free movie screening and live recording of these episodes. That's Wednesday night, 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire. Come on down, watch a flick, grab a drink, eat well with good friends, and
don't forget the popcorn. Good night, world.